Welcome to the Lafaya podcast, the podcast for people who refuse to fold in the face of adversity. Whether you're navigating personal challenges or professional obstacles, this show is a reminder that you have the power to play to win. Hello, everybody. As my guest today, I have my wonderful friend, Sabrina. I absolutely love what it is that you do, and I'm super excited to have you on the show. I think I'm excited about having everybody I invite because I don't invite people that I'm not interested in. So there's that part.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, okay, Sabrina, so can you do me a huge favor and introduce yourself to everybody out there?
Sure. So I'm Sabrina Schottenhamel, and let's see, I've been an entrepreneur for almost 18 years now, and I'm a massage therapist, but I'm also a professional speaker, and I became a co-author at the same time as you. Well, I know you were an author already, but so I'm co-author in the book Speechless with you,
Mhm.
and I
Wait, wait,
tend
wait,
to.
wait, wait. Shameless plug. Give us that whole title there.
Yes, so the book is called Speechless, giving the hashtag voiceless a voice.
Yes.
And each chapter speaks on speaking for someone else, or in my case, being an introvert and being very shy and reserved as a young person, I now get to speak for myself because I have worked on myself to develop my skills and becoming a public speaker. So yeah, I that was so cool, and the way that that book came about for me was such a God moment
Yes.
and so spirit led. So it was just amazing.
Yes, same. I knew nothing about the book. I was like a last minute like drop in. A
Hmm.
friend of mine, she said, Anka, I love you, Anka. She said I know someone, they're writing this book. It's called Speechless, giving the voiceless a voice. And she said, and I really think that your take on autism or the experiences of people on the spectrum would be freaking awesome in that book. So you need to meet her. And I was like, ooh, okay. Well, I was intrigued. I was like, okay, I really do want to do that. Speechless, like freaking awesome title, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
same thing, God thing, completely and totally like just it was fully inspired. I only had 2 days to work on the whole thing.
Yeah.
When I
Amazing.
met you guys there, that was the first I had met with her the day before. She said, "Oh, you should come to our group meeting." It was insane. But anyway,
Wow.
okay.
Yeah.
So just kind of getting into right, kind of what I typically talk about here. Um, can you tell everybody? I know a bit about you, but can you tell everybody about a situation in your life that has caused you to, or a circumstance, whatever, that has caused you to have to learn how to play the hand you're dealt?
Hmm. Yes. I it was a long time ago, but I was held back in first grade, and for whatever reason, I don't remember anyone pointing their finger and saying, "You're stupid, you're not good enough." But I took that on as I was stupid. I am not good enough. So the school system held me back, but I also held myself back because I was too afraid to ask questions when I was lost, or even just talk face to face with one person. I was afraid. So, yeah, that held me back pretty much my whole school career. And I knew I didn't want to go away to college. I didn't want to leave my family. And thankfully, at that point in my life, I was starting to work up a little bit of courage. So I talked to my parents, and they allowed me to live at home. And instead of going to college, I went straight to massage school.
Hmm.
A little tiny backstory on that is my mom was an entrepreneur and she worked from home. And so I'd come home from school because she sat at her computer and I'd massage her shoulders. So she felt the gift in me. When I went to her then and said, "What do you think I should do after high school?" She recommended I go to a local massage school.
Oh, very
So,
cool.
yeah, so I got to live at home. I worked two jobs and I went to massage school. And that was the first time in my life that I actually felt like I was in the right place. I started to thrive and flourish and like asked for help when I was confused on my first couple classes were anatomy and kinesiology. So lots of studying, but I asked for help and then I did well. that was the first time in school I actually was doing well. And then, of course, when I put my hands on people, everything just clicked for me because I'm such a tactile person, and very creative. So, like, I could just close my eyes and just everything made sense to me at that point.
Oh wow, you know what? I'm gonna have to come visit you because I'm gonna
Yeah.
not every masseuse is gifted, but anyway.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, I went through massage school, and because I actually enjoyed it, I stayed there like 3.5, 4 years. And then once I finished, I got a job and started, working and practicing, and eventually I started my own business. And as an entrepreneur, and having my mom and my dad as entrepreneur parents, I got to see like, oh, it's kind of cool to work for yourself and make your own schedule. And I just kept wanting more for myself at that point. It was like I wanted more. And, as a massage therapist, I loved what I did, but I could only reach one person at a time.
Right.
And I kept hearing about personal development, business development, public speaking, professional speaking. And I was like, oh, I don't think I could do that. But Toastmasters kept coming up too. And so I looked into it. I eventually, about a year and a half later, joined Toastmasters. And then again, everything changed for me. When I participated and in the first meeting and I became a member, I started practicing these speeches and, well, even just putting a speech together and then getting up in front of the group to perform them. Something just kept clicking inside of me. It was like, you need to do this, Sabrina, because you can reach so many more people by speaking. It's less physically demanding on your body, and you can make a bigger impact.
So let me see if I, have this straight, right?
Uh-huh.
So you were, as a child, you recognized that you were really shy, had a really
Yeah.
hard time speaking up,
Hmm.
and all of that. But this like this impulse, this calling kept kept reaching out to you or pulling at you saying you need to do something where you're
Hmm.
speaking, where you're impacting
Yes.
more than just one person, where you're impacting multiple people. And now
Hmm.
you had to figure out how to do something about that.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Because at first you're thinking, oh no, man, I don't think I would want to do that,
Mm-mm.
which I understand completely. That was me in writing. Oh, yeah, I don't like writing, right? My calling came, I was like, and
Hmm.
so no, right? I didn't like English, right? But things kept coming around to you, and then you finally made the choice to step in and say, okay, well, I have to learn how to become a speaker. So why
Hmm.
not try this Toastmasters thing that
Hmm.
I keep seeing out there?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you
Hmm.
went to meetings, you developed speeches, and then what happened after? What happened? How'd you grow and develop through that?
Well, I just jumped in with both feet, and I realized like the more that you put a speech together, you practice it, you receive the feedback, and you either, take the feedback and you improve upon it, or you're like, well, that doesn't really fit my personality, so I'm gonna leave that feedback. But it was such a learning process of, okay, I'm gonna create these speeches or these presentations, and then just keep practicing. The more that I practiced, the better I got. And I even did so many speeches in my second year that I won Best Speaker of the Year. And that's what this little award is right next to me.
Wow, best speaker of the year. That's awesome.
Yes.
How long were you involved with Toastmasters before you received that award?
It was like 2 years.
Okay, so after 2 years, you got so good and lots of practice. You got so good at public speaking that you received a Speaker of the Year award. That is
Yes.
freaking. See, now this is what I'm talking about. See, this is what I'm talking about out there. Okay, when you're learning how to play the hand that you're dealt. Okay, sometimes things make absolutely no sense. The things that you have in your body that you want to do make absolutely no sense for your or you think so anyway, for your
Hmm.
personality type, for what it is you're willing and open to doing and all of that. But if you jump in with both feet because things are going to come around to you in this life. They're going to come around. If it's your journey and it's meant for you, they're going to come around to you. If you grab a hold of those things and just jump in, and you don't have to be great at it, just practice and keep practicing and keep practicing.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden, then you end up in, well, especially if you're like Miss Sabrina here, you end up in situations where you become speaker of the year and you write number one international bestsellers when you had zero desire to write. you know, and things like that. So guys, keep that part in mind that sometimes it really is we were dealt like all my poker players out there, we were dealt that deuce seven and we're supposed to win. We're supposed to win an entire tournament getting hands like this. Okay. But if you apply what it is that you learn and you keep practicing and you keep, refining that art, that craft, then all of a sudden there you are, and you don't know how it happened. Just there you are, you're a star, right? It's awesome.
Hmm.
Anyway, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
It's
thank
really
you.
cool. Okay, so now jumping into kind of the other side, right? Now, yes, you practice. Yes, you became great, and still are great, and you get even better, teaching other people how to be better, of course. Um, yes, you did all of that, but there had to be times where it felt like, oh my goodness, I'm ready to quit. I'm ready
Mhm.
to give up, or this is too much, or one of those moments had, or even, I don't know if you're anything like me, which I don't know, you seem a lot, calmer and everything. Sometimes getting some of that feedback from others can be just devastating too, right? And these
Yeah.
are the things that kind of send you on what I call tilt, where you have those moments where you kind of have that blockage, right? That
Mhm.
temporary interruption in logical thinking where you're just like, oh, forget all of this. You're in your emotions, right? So when you hit those moments, which I'm sure they came along, what did you do to get through those moments?
Yes. I mean, there has been a lot. So I am not like I guess hang on. I used to be more of an explosive person. Not really explosive, but like if something really bothered me, it would almost be like a wall hit me and I would what's the term, like your heart drops into your stomach and my heart would drop like that fast and it would start to race and then I would feel very hot and I would get flush and like start to sweat and it was almost like I guess not really an anger thing but just an embarrassment and shame I used to feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And during these moments, because it was so key, the way you describe that,
Hmm.
that's when you're starting to enter into fight or flight,
Hmm.
right? So sometimes it can happen by way of people becoming very angry, but it can also happen when you become very embarrassed, right? Both of those feelings have
Hmm.
anxiety attached, right?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, your brain goes into red alert. It's like, oh, there's a problem here. What's going on? And your body starts to tell you by the heart dropping, the heart racing, the
Yeah.
tense muscles, the feeling
Yeah.
flush and overheated and everything. But
Hmm.
yes, okay. And okay, so when you recognize you were in these moments, what would you do?
So before I realized what was happening, I would just ruminate. But now, when I recognize those things happening, I will breathe because breathing is really key for releasing some stress, lowering that heart rate, especially the longer the exhale and the slower that you can breathe. It'll help with, the activation of the parasympathetic nervous system so you get to calm down. But yes, before, like, I didn't know what to do with it. I would just let my mind race and spin. But now, yes, I will. I guess it depends on the situation too. Like if you're in a meeting or if you're in a networking situation, introverts, and you start to feel really overwhelmed, and maybe someone says something that like shocks you, and you're just like, okay, I need to take a step back. In those situations, you politely excuse yourself and you make your way outside to get some fresh air or to the restroom to breathe and just take a moment to recharge your batteries. Because at that point,
Yes.
you have your energy level has dropped significantly, and you need to step away to recharge it until the event is over or the meeting is over or whatever it might be.
Yes, that's awesome. Now,
Yeah.
I know you guys out there who have been listening that you heard this a couple times now, or at least a few times now, that stopping and breathing, that cannot be emphasized enough because that breathing piece is such a huge has a such a huge part with how we regulate, right? So just really, I mean, think about it. If through our breath we can, like Sabrina said, we can regulate our heart rate. So if our
Mhm.
heart's racing and we need to regulate it, just as if we like went for a run, we need to stop and just inhale. The deeper you can inhale, the better, right? And take that long exhale until you start to slow those
Mhm.
breaths down. When you
Yeah.
start to slow those breaths down, when you're in a fight or flight situation, then what you do is you send a new message to the brain saying everything is okay. Everything is starting to level off. Everything is okay. There is no need to run away or shut down, right? We're no
Nope.
we it takes us out of that fight or flight. Like I love to say to people, there is no dragon chasing me, no dinosaur chasing me, because these feelings that we have in our body are age old, right? And
Mhm.
so if we learn how to regulate those age old fight or flight feelings that before we definitely needed to run away from that dinosaur, at least I before we were eating, right? But
Mhm.
sometimes just being able to pause and take that breath and even say to yourself things like, okay, my favorite thing to say, no saber-toothed tiger here. Everything is things are definitely better than that, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah.
And yep, minding those body cues so key. And then
Mhm.
that second key, which again, guys, take advantage of this advice because it's very important. Don't be afraid to get up and excuse her. She said, politely excuse. I love the way she said that. Politely excuse yourself,
Yes.
right? And take that walk. Because no matter, especially for introverts, no matter what you're thinking, people do not know what's going on inside of your head and your body. So
Mhm.
sometimes it's like when we get into that space, right? And this is poker players too, right? Because I can be at the poker table, we get into that space, it'll almost feel like the world can see inside, like we're translucent now and the people can see entirely through us and know what we're thinking and feeling. And so then sometimes we feel stuck in that moment, like, oh my goodness, if I move, then they'll really know, right? That's kind of how the emotions are reacting. But in
Yeah.
truth, if we move into understanding the real truth, right? That's step two in it from a four core guys. You have to learn more about it. But if we start working on understanding the real truth, we can say to ourselves, oh, they don't know what's going on with me. When I excuse myself, it's just the same as if someone else excused themselves. When if someone got up to excuse themselves, would I sit and wonder or perseverate on what they're doing? No, not even thinking about it. I'm just thinking, oh, okay, they needed to. Even if I went that far, I might not even have a thought about it, right? When they get up to excuse themselves. So the
Yeah.
same applies to me, right? Right?
Yes.
That's so it's like so it's so key,
Mhm.
right? Okay. So is there any other quick tip before we close up here that you'd like to give to our audience out there for what to do in those tough moments?
Well, another thing that I like to do now is because I've strengthened my relationship with Jesus over the last 4 or 5 years,
Yes.
I either pray
Yes.
or I go to scripture because
Yes.
sometimes you don't know, you want to call someone and be like, "Oh, what happened?" Oh. But instead, we need to go to God right away
Mhm.
and ask him what's happening in our body and ask him for wisdom and answers. So that's my go-to now is, just sit and pray, or as you go out for a walk if you are able to get out for a walk. pray. You can talk to yourself, pretend like you have a little someone in your ear, like your little headphones in. No one will know you're talking to God.
That's
It's
it.
okay.
That's it. So lean into your faith. That
Yeah,
can't be emphasized enough because there are so many things out there that are so much bigger than we are.
yeah.
How nice is it to have something bigger than you that
Mm,
can handle all of this stuff way better than you can anyway?
yeah, that's for sure.
Right. Okay. So I just thank you so much, Sabrina, for coming out and just
So,
sharing your wisdom and
yeah.
sharing your wonderful, beautiful spirit with everybody.
Mm,
Now, how do people, oh my goodness, I I'm not sure, but I don't think you mentioned your group, your
mm,
introverts group. So
yes.
first of all, I want you to tell everybody about that
Okay.
because people need to, especially my introverts out there, need to know about your group because you are freaking awesome, an
Uh,
awesome leader. You're
Thank you.
helping so many people, right? Break out of the bonds of introversion because being an introvert is not in and of itself, right? Like a terrible thing. It's not a curse,
No.
right?
Mm,
There's good and bad with everything. There's just you have to learn how to work with what you have. And you have been working with people on recognizing how to make being an introvert your superpower, which
mm.
is so awesome. So, yes, I'm over talking, but tell them about your group and tell them how to reach you.
Yes, I run Networking for Introverts the third Wednesday of every month at 12 p.m. Central. We meet over Zoom, and either I have a guest speaker who shares a topic, or I come up with a topic, or I ask my members, what is it that you want to learn and discuss on a live call? So we spend 60 minutes or less, and I created this safe space. So it's very small, it's intimate, and I do want to grow it a little bit more. And of course, like if it's bigger, we'll go on to breakout rooms so that you still feel safe and secure. But yeah, it's a great place that I have created for our fellow introverts to learn and grow together.
Yes, it's awesome. Okay, and
Yeah.
how do they find you?
Yes, so I like to hang out a lot on LinkedIn, which I know you do too, Lafaya. So Sabrina Schottenhamel on LinkedIn, and that's probably the best place to find me. You can uh, like and follow me, and even send me a DM. That way we can connect, and I can best serve you.
Now, if they follow you on Instagram, will they also receive like updates and of things that you're doing and all that as well?
Yes, well, Instagram, I haven't been posting too much. I'm posting my videos. I'm doing a video series on going from insecure to honoring thyself.
I saw some of that.
Uh-huh. So I've been posting those mostly on TikTok and LinkedIn,
Okay.
just repurposing them so that I can see where my followers are. And but yeah, once in a while I do post a little bit about my introverts group, well, on Facebook, and it sometimes will go to Instagram. So yeah, I am on all the platforms, but the most important one that I've been hanging out on is LinkedIn.
Got you, got you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, fantastic. We'll also put that information in our show notes so people know how to reach you.
Thank
And
you.
yes, and thank you all for joining us today. And keep in mind that it's not about the hand you're dealt, it's about how you play it. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. And if you're interested in learning more about playing the hand you're dealt in this mental game of life, you'll love my book, Poker, A Woman's Game. To download your free chapter today, click on the link in our show notes or visit lafayawaypoker.com. See you soon.